Hey everyone, and yeah, I actually feel better now, thankfully. And I have now last video before I go away for 2 weeks. I'm going away tonight actually, but somehow I watched a new Polish movie, Chłopi. Which translates in English into The Peasants, and it's based on a classic Polish book by a Polish writer, Władysław Reymont, but we'll get to that later. I'll just say that I've seen this movie in cinemas and I decided to squeeze in this last review for you before I go away. So yes, but before we talk about the movie, I will say first that I don't think many of you will get a chance to see this movie because it's a very Polish movie and I don't think there is an English version, and I don't think for now it only has been released in Poland actually. So yeah, I don't think most of you around the world will be able to see this movie, for now at least. But first a little backstory about the book. Chłopi, or The Peasants, how it would be called in English, is a very famous Polish book. Like in Polish high schools, everybody is a required read. I haven't read it, especially that I went to boarding school in the United States for high school. So yeah, I never read it because of that. But I do know that it is a required read in Polish high schools actually, and I do consider reading it someday. And almost most people I do know did in fact read it. And what's famous about this book is that it tries to be realistic. It presents life in the span of 10 months, a life of regular peasants in the 19th century of a Polish village. And what this book is that it's a simple it shows a simple life of peasants and shows the mentality of those people and all there, and it's pretty realistic novel and reflects what type of things really were happening or would happen during that time in a regular Polish village. And I heard that Władysław Reymont actually did have some experiences with a Polish village and basically decided to write this book to reflect the reality of Polish village in 19th century. But now let's talk about the movie. The first thing I'll say is that the animation is simply so unique, something I have never seen before, because it's basically a Renaissance painting come to life, and it's so creative and unique. I know there has been another movie with a similar animation, Loving Vincent, Vincent van Gogh's biography, which I haven't seen. I don't know why. I love Vincent van Gogh. He's like one of my favorite artists and painters ever, so I don't know how come I haven't seen this. I should most certainly. But yes, this movie does a very similar animation in that it uses paintings. Yeah, and I have to say this is such a gorgeous animation. It's so unique, so creative, unlike anything I've ever seen before. So when it comes to animation, 10 out of 10. Really creative and unique idea. I love that. And then another thing I like about the movie is actually its simplicity, how it just shows the life of peasants in a Polish village. And I love that unlike many period pieces that are now happening often, the villagers actually act like villagers really would in 19th century. They don't act like modern, no, they act genuinely like 19th century villagers would act, and they very much have the type of mentality that they would have. And I love how this movie very much reflects the life of what type of life would be in a Polish village and all. And the music is great, and I think it matches perfectly the tone of the movie. And I do have to say though that the story is actually rather simple. It's about the main character is this woman named Jagna, who actually doesn't feel like she really fits with the life in the village, because she's basically doesn't exactly know what she wants, and she is like supposed to get married to this old farmer, which she does get married to him, but because she doesn't really feel like any love to him, she starts having romance with his son actually, and then also starts romancing other men, and basically she's seen as an outcast by the rest of the village. And the way it works is like nobody in the village likes her or respects her or understands her, but we as the audience do, because we kind of feel that although she does engage in some immoral things like cheating constantly on her husband, and constantly romancing all those men around and seducing them, but deep down she just feels like an outcast. She just feels like she doesn't really belong in a village, and she's basically doing this all just to find her place in the world. And the story is actually pretty sad because of that, but it's also when comes one of my major problems with the movie. I really couldn't stand the ending. The ending was left on such a sour note, and actually, if it was any other story, the ending would very much be a cliffhanger. But here, it's no a cliffhanger. It was very much an ending, and based on what I read about the book, and book ends the same way, which further shows that it's supposed to be basically simplicity, because the ending is that, since most of you likely won't see it soon anyway, I will spoil the ending. Yagna gets stripped naked and thrown out of the village, and the villagers tell her that they will kill her if she ever returns. And then, the end. And yeah, that very much left a bitter taste in my mouth. Like, I really wish there was some closure. Like, I'm not necessarily expecting her to return to the village. That would obviously not be consistent with the story. It wouldn't make sense. But maybe she should at least be able to find shelter or something. Yeah, I really hated the ending. I really wish there was at least some form of closure. Not just Yagna getting thrown out of the village naked and then we don't know what will happen to her next. Yeah, I really hated that. Although I do know, and I looked it up, that the book ends exactly the same way. So this is just a movie doing nothing more than following the book. But then again, considering how much adaptations tend to now do change things up, I do think giving us a little bit more closure in the ending wouldn't be a bad thing. But oh well, can't say it's a that gigantic flaw, because as much as I hated the ending and wasn't satisfied with it one bit, I do also have to accept that this is just how the book ends, so this is probably more to do with my personal taste and not exactly the ending actually being bad. Overall, do I recommend Chłopi or the Peasants? Well, for the animation alone, and if you want to learn what the life of 19th century Polish peasants was like, then yes, I would very much recommend this movie. If you want to get acquainted with with Polish culture and all, yes, this is certainly a movie for you. And if you want to just watch it for the gorgeous animation form of paintings, then yes, it's also a movie for you. So yes, in conclusion, I do in fact recommend Chłopi. Although at the same time, I doubt I'll be watching the movie again anytime soon. And so, this is my last review for the next 2 weeks, because as I said, tonight I'm going away for 2 weeks. I'll be back in 2 weeks, and thank you for checking out this video. Press the like button, please subscribe to this channel, and I'll talk to you again soon when I come back from vacation in 2 weeks. Talk to you then. Bye.